You're about to listen to an archived episode of The Night Shift with Zeno Horoman. This is brought to you commercial-free by the Surfcast Podcast. If you're interested in more historical, educational, and entertaining surf fishing content, check out weekly episodes of the Surfcast Podcast available today on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts, including www.surfcastpodcast.com.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Night Shift Podcast brought to you by Surfcasters Journal magazine. Today, my guest is Lynch. He's a surfcaster, is a personal friend of mine. He's a coastal team photographer and owner of Angry Fish Gallery in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. He does some spectacular photography, and I heard he can catch a fish or two here and there. So we'll just pick his brain about both. Tom, welcome to the Night Shift Podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, listen, I have heard some stuff about you over the years from people that I can't probably repeat on this podcast, but I have never actually heard your background. How did you get into fishing? We'll get to the photography, but how did you get into fishing?
Two ways. I grew up very close to a reservoir, a freshwater reservoir. It was about 100 yards from my house, and that was one of the main places I existed during my preteen years and teen years. It was tremendously like an amazing fishing spot because you weren't allowed to fish in it. It had a barbed wire fence around it, but I had a whole series of holes that I knew where they were. I could get in and out. And this reservoir was loaded with giant pickerel, giant smallmouths, giant perch. These fish just got huge because nobody could catch them. I mean, you weren't allowed to fish in there.
Right.
But I did hold the record in my town. I had 13 times I got caught by either the police or the people that ran the reservoir. And I got brought home once, and my father, in the police car, and my dad pretended he was mad. And then when I got in, he was like, "Hey, did you catch anything?" So but that was one, that was a major thing. And then we used to vacation down to Jersey Shore. And I would say when I was probably about 6 years old, 1969, I remember a bluefish blitz. It was actually in August. These big bluefish crashed on the beach on Bunker. And that was just something I'd never seen before and absolutely amazed me. Like, that was a big conduit in me loving fishing and saltwater fishing in particular, surf fishing.
You know, the bluefish of August, now that you mention it, years ago, and I'm dating myself, but doesn't happen anymore. And nobody can figure out what's going on with bluefish anyway. We'll touch on bluefish later because I know you're a big fan. But in New York in particular, like Long Island Sound and South Shore, the August was the month for bluefish. I mean, bunker, bluefish, big blues, you could just, get the pencil popper in any body of water and catch them. And that's just, that whole fishery kind of disappeared completely. Now, there is still a spring run, as I'll ask you about it later, because you guys have had some great ones over the years. But that August fishery kind of dried up by us. I mean, they're still going on in the Sound a little bit, but what about it by you guys?
It's really calmed down. Our big bite for bluefish was kind of April, May, June, dying off big time in June. And that has been rather quiet for the past few years. And like last year, I didn't get a bluefish over 10 pounds. And another weird circumstance last year was my biggest bluefish came out of the surf rather than the back bay, which is pretty unusual.
Yeah, because usually you get them in April in the back. They run right into the bay. It's like, what, about 15th of April, Jersey, something like that, just about 2 weeks before we get it? Yeah.
It's amazing when they show up, but they really have been kind of scarce lately. We get a quick hit in Barnegat Bay or up in Raritan, but it just hasn't been that on-fire, prolonged mayhem that can go on up there with them.
Well, I mean, my memories of bluefish, while we're talking about it, it's usually the last day of April, first few days of May. It's like you go to your local inlet and the first day you can't get enough of it. Then the second day you just throw bucktails because you just don't want to lose any plugs. And then the third day you just throw cameras in there just to see what they look like underneath. There's so many of them. I mean, and it's just like now it's like 2-3 days and you missed it. It's like it used to last for a week. It was just every tide, it was insane. So
yeah,
it totally
none
changed.
of us know why, right? It's just, I don't know if they're cyclical or.
No, I don't think the scientists know why. That's the whole thing. They can't even figure out where the damn things are spawning. I mean, I don't get it. Man's on the moon 50 years ago. We can't figure out where the bluefish are spawning.
There's a lot of mystery with those. And then as a kid, I don't know about you, but I used to hear
not
about
enough
the
research done.
30 to 40 pound giant bluefish off the coast of Africa. Yeah.
That I've heard that over the years, the same species of fish. You know, I was surprised when I was in Croatia and people are like, oh, we're catching these fish and they're like great fighting fish. And they show me it's a bluefish. I'm like, really? You guys got bluefish here? I mean, they weren't that big, but, you know, exactly same fish. So, you know, Mediterranean also has that type of fish. I wasn't even aware of it, to be honest. So that doesn't surprise me about the coast of Africa. Now, you are as probably more famous as a photographer than surfcaster. Okay, let's just be honest, because your photography is out of this world. How did you get into that? I mean, what did you started as a you actually went to school? Actually, that was like a continuation.
Yeah, I
of
have
passion,
a fine
right?
arts degree in photography and film from Montclair State, or Monkey State as I call it. Sorry. So I got my first real camera in 1978. It was a Canon AE1, like where you could actually change the lenses and things. And I've always been addicted to the visual side of fishing in particular. And that's how I'd been into photography from the first time I picked up a camera, basically. And it's a little bit of an obsession with me.
But now you lived in San Diego and you worked in that field, and then you moved to New Jersey. Not many people do that.
Yeah,
What
it's kind of
the fuck's
funny.
wrong with you,
But I
dude?
actually love the Isla Beach State Park. I love. To me, it's one
Right.
of my favorite places on the planet. And I don't know, I just reconnected with Jersey after being away for 15 years and came back, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks that this is where I wanted to be.
Were you doing any fishing when
Not
you were in
too
San
much.
Diego?
The surf fishing out there,
Uh-huh.
you could get little halibut. Corbina was like the big species in San Diego to try to catch, which is similar
Yes.
to
Yes.
like I guess a redfish or a weakfish, something in that realm.
Weak fish, yeah,
But
yeah.
no,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was more into the wave riding scene out there than into fishing. I made a couple
Okay.
long range trips on the I think it was the Red Rooster. Some of those boats that go out of Point Loma.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're out
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for 2 days, 3 days. You ride 18 hours in the boat to get on those tuna and albacore.
Yeah. That was like the Excalibur and a few other boats were going like a 2-3 day trips. Yeah,
I did that a few
reading about that
times,
stuff.
and I don't know. I like fishing the East Coast better than the West Coast.
But now you got back into New Jersey. Did you just pick up
Yeah, I
surfing
always
immediately?
fished.
Was that, or
No,
was it some
it was,
gradual thing?
I basically
Yeah.
came back, and that was in 2007, and immediately just that was it. Like I was re-addicted to it. Yeah.
Okay. And now, okay, you have your gallery where you have all your stuff down. I mean, people can see it at the angryfishgallery.com. We'll put the link in the show notes. And I know you specialize in the coastal photography, basically beach scenery and fishing, and you got some spectacular surf fishing photographs. Now, does photography cuts in your fishing time?
Yes and no. Bob Popovics, the fly fisherman, taught me a very valuable lesson about 10 years ago. I was on my way out to Montauk.
Let me guess. He told you you can
That's
do
it.
one
He
or the
said
other.
exactly that. If you're going to do, you either do one or the other, or you do them both badly. And he's right. So I'm at the point in my existence now where the photography comes before the fishing, and especially if it's visual. You know, if I'm out in the surf and the peanut bunker are getting decimated by bass, and there's fish flying out of the water, and real excitement going on in the waves, I want to be shooting rather than fishing. So photography definitely cuts into fishing.
You know, the strange part about this conversation is you are probably the only person that I can talk to about this and have certain level of understanding, because I've done the photography and video for years as an amateur, not a professional at all. You see my videos on YouTube or whatever, and won some, numerous awards at New York Outdoor Association. But the thing is that, I would be out of Montauk with a Nikon and there would be a blitz on, and I would try to take a picture and make a cast and then have a waterproof camera. And I got some good shots, but I haven't done a good blitz fishing, or I haven't done good photography. So eventually what happened was This is funny to you, but it's 4 o'clock in the morning. The dawn's coming over the lighthouse, and I'm laying in the ground with a tripod and a Nikon while everybody's perched on the rock. And people are like, "Wait a minute, what are you doing?" Like in waders, because my rod's up in a truck. And then you get these, not spectacular, but you get these footage or these shots that no one has, and they're like, "Well, how the hell did you do that?" Well, guess what? You were fishing and I wasn't. I was literally concentrating on that half an hour of sunlight or whatever it was. So I can definitely appreciate that you cannot possibly do both correctly.
Yeah, I've proven it many times, coming home with crappy pictures and not catching that many fish.
So you can be bad at both. Okay. All right. Well, listen, that's fair enough. But is it thrill the same of getting exceptional photograph as it is of catching a big fish?
This is going to sound crazy, but I actually get more of a thrill out of capturing a moment that I've never gotten before, that I haven't seen, and I get more of a thrill out of getting the money shot, so to speak, than I do catching a big fish or catching fish.
Well, I think that shows in your photographs because they are outstanding. But how do you spend a lot of time of thinking about composition shots, or you decide that on the spot?
It does depend on the situation, but I'm always thinking about composition and angles and perspectives and how to capture it in an interesting way. So, yeah, when I a lot of times you walk on the beach and the action in the water is going to dictate where I'm going to go and what I can do. So,
because some of your shots are like incredible to the point where I go like, where the hell was he standing on a boat taking that shot? Because we all seen the shots with a guy in the back and a fish in the front of him. We don't see many shots with a fish in the foreground and a guy in the background.
I put my cameras in horrible places, and I ruin cameras. Like I've drowned 2 of them in the past couple of years because I don't know. I work them pretty hard, and I'm not afraid to put them in places that put them in danger, but can yield me a really cool shot. Which, like you're saying, get behind the fish and the angler. The fish is between me and the angler. And
I'm going to assume that you, like when I was doing the photography, don't not take anybody with you because people just don't have patience to wait hours for a shot.
You can't. This was years ago, but I was in Hawaii, and I was with a girl that didn't want to be on the beach anymore, and I left on an epic day, and I've never forgiven myself because I missed. A buddy of mine was body surfing Second Reef Pipeline and doing it well, which is kind of relatively unheard of, and I missed the whole thing because somebody wanted to leave. So yeah, a solo's definitely.
You still haven't forgiven her. I see that.
Never again. Sorry.
What is it? What is the? I know there's a lot of money shots. Okay, we've seen you take some great photography in the magazines and on your website and on the web. But what is to you? What is the holy grail? Like,
well, the holy grail would be a pod of great white sharks getting attacked by orcas in 60-foot surf.
Okay. I can see that.
Well, short of that,
it'd be like me taking a picture of Jimmy Hoffa at the Meadowlands, but that's not happening either.
But I just think my favorite subject is fish in waves. Literally where you have a wave breaking and the fish are visible in it, either popping out the front of it or racing through it. And I think action that takes place in that little zone is where my favorite shots come from.
You have this little obsession with waves, fish, and lightning, I understand.
First image I ever saw on a movie screen was a wave at Pipeline in Hawaii breaking. My dad took me to some movie when I was like 6 years old again. And the first thing that came up on the screen was a short film about Pipeline. And the first shot was looking into the barrel of a wave as it broke in Hawaii. And that really punched me in the face pretty hard. And so I got very into waves at that point. Lightning, I just think, is one of those badass things that happens in weather. And I go out and try to shoot it when it's good. And I've come close to getting popped 3 times by my count. and I've come within 18 inches of getting hit. 20 feet.
I got hit once, and I don't ever want to repeat that again. And I did at Joe's Beach many years ago, and I would not advise anybody to go with the graphite rod in the lightning trying to take a photograph of a fisherman catching a fish, because that's a recipe for disaster.
It's all good till it isn't, right?
I assume that patience is a virtue that you have to have as an outdoor photographer, because you're talking about, a lot of your pictures are like the fish coming out of the waves, not necessarily even hitting the plug, but like, how the hell do you know where the fish are going to pop out of the wave? You only got a second, and you and I know well that the cameras do not autofocus on waves. That's just
they don't.
Almost impossible.
And patience is the key. And I'll sit on a rock for 5 hours and wait for one false albacore to jump out of the water in the right place and hopefully get them. But
it's got to be the right place.
You got to try to figure yourself what's going to give me the best chance of being near the fish that are occurring. And then you got to go. You can't sit in the wrong spot. Like, you kind of, it's just like surf fishing. You got to move.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't sound any different than what we do when you go fishing, and you got to pick a right spot, And now I'm going to ask you something else. You got into the drone photography last few years, and I've seen some incredible footage. How cool is it? How many? I know I've downed a few drones in the water, so this is not a sport for the faint-hearted. So how is that working out for you?
So far, I've dropped one in Barnegat Bay. So that one was done. Okay. And last week, I came as close as you can come to dropping another one in the bay in Cape May. So some miracle allowed me it sat down on a little tidal flat. I was like, oh, there goes another $1,500.
You got lucky there. Yeah. They're not cheap. You can go cheap, but you're not going to get what you want out of it. That's the whole thing.
My advice to anyone who's going to get a drone and put it up over water is when you get a warning saying your battery's low, head right back.
Just get it back.
One of them I had, it gave me the warning, and I was like, screw that. I'll let it keep going. And it got down to 10%, and then the drone just said, forcing a landing. And it goes down, and it drops straight down to 6 feet or 5 feet until it runs out of batteries, and then I had to watch the thing drop into the bay. Yeah, so insult injury.
Man. It's I know what it is, and I know it's a little bit challenging to do it, but I gotta tell you, like, you can get, I'm not talking Spielberg shit, okay? I'm not making anybody, but like people that make videos, like, you can get some incredibly different perspective if you're making videos for surf fishing, that you can incorporate drone footage where it just kind of blows your mind of the whole feeling of the place that you've never seen before. Because again, we always see the shot from the back. Very rarely. I used to go into water, I drown a bunch of cameras because the stupid waves would come over my head while I was trying to get low enough, to get that shot, the foam, the whole, how it is. But the drone gives you a totally different perspective.
It's almost like you have the ability to fly with your camera, but you can't actually fly. I actually get vertigo when I look up at a drone. Like, I get like almost like a height disorientation from that perspective. But it can give you angles that you could only dream of in the past.
Did you get some good shots this fall, considering now you're in photography more and more, and you guys had an incredible run of fish?
Yeah, I had a really good fall of shooting and fishing, and I got some shots that I was after for a while. And, my fish and wave stuff, and some unbelievable days of fishing too. Thanksgiving were my favorites.
Now, what was driving these blitzes this fall in Jersey?
Yeah, it was adult bunker and peanut bunker. And it seemed like if you found the adult bunker, you found the big fish. But some of the peanut blitzes went on for, 8 hours straight. So it was pretty intense.
But that must make for some pretty incredible photography when they spray out. I assume so. No?
Yeah, I got some pretty good stuff from the fall. No doubt. I went home a lot of days with adrenaline pumped up from what I saw.
Do you ever find subtleties in the pictures if you look at them afterwards, like the stuff that you've missed? Because you take a lot of beach shots, and there might be a fish in a wave that you haven't seen the first time because it wasn't defined or something else.
100%. I was in here the other night in a gallery just going through shots from early fall and doing just that, looking through wave shots where I knew there were fish in the area. And a lot of times I will just shoot the breaking wave, hoping something would come in it, and found a few that I didn't realize were there where you got bass in the waves. So to answer your question, yeah, definitely. It's like treasure hunting.
Does it give you any, I'm not going to say knowledge, but does it teach you anything about the fish behavior by being behind the camera when you're looking at this while everybody's fishing? The way they feed, the way they move through the waves.
I think you're very conscious of the visual aspects of it, and I'm looking very intently to see what's coming down the beach if I can. But I think it's probably the same thing I'm looking for if I'm fishing for them. I want to see them coming.
How do you, and I asked you this before, how the hell do you know where the fish are going to pop? Like, if you're looking for fish breaking water.
I mean, you can watch the bunker tighten up. You can watch them start to move faster. Like, there's signs that something's coming in on them. And I'll gravitate. If I see the bunker all of a sudden get dark and start to tighten up and come up or you move faster, then you know something's on them. And then that's what else.
Yeah, but that's also good for somebody who hasn't fished around a bunker school to, good advice to also heed the same scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about this crazy blitz, because I'm going to tell you what happened, okay? And I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. This is what happens. And this happens in the Cape Cod Canal. This happens in Montauk. It's the end of the year. You guys had a late season late blitz, which is normal for Jersey, gets the last shot of it every year. And the guys in the Northeast, Rhode Island, Montauk, they already kind of like give it up. It's getting close to Thanksgiving. And then you hear about this crazy thing in New Jersey. It's all right to blow over by tomorrow, and then tomorrow happens. And then how long can this go on? It goes on and on. And the more it goes on, you want to take the forks and stick them in the eyes, and you go like, I can't believe I'm missing this shit, but I know tomorrow's going to be over, and you never go. Like, this shit went on for a long time.
It kept going. It was day after day, and you could go find them.
And was it a daytime bite? Was it a nighttime bite? How was it?
I had one, like 10 out of 10 night, but it was a daytime bite for me. I'm out shooting during the day, and I kind of spent all my waking credits on the daytime rather than the nighttime. So I don't know. Typically, you talk to a lot of guys around here, and a lot of them will say that the bunker bites tend to slow down at night anyway. But I have had friends that have gone out and slayed in the middle of the night. But I just didn't do too much of it this year. I didn't have to.
How is the wind different in Jersey than most other places? I think I know the answer, but I want you to tell me.
For me, I like the west winds for bunker, which is straight offshore. South wind is usually our death wind where nothing happens. However, this year there was 2 big fish prolonged blitzes that occurred on strong souths. So a lot of times when it blows south, the guy's like, screw it, it's over. But this year, that south actually was a pretty good wind. But that's usually our least favorable.
Do you guys like hard west wind?
Yeah. Hard west wind is you can get out on the sandbars, cast into the deep water, makes the waves stand straight up, and the bunker will allegedly swim into the wind. So if it's west, a lot of times you find them on the beach. So yeah, we like west.
The only reason I'm asking you this is because I fish on Long Island primarily, and you tell me west wind, I'm not even going to get out of bed. That's my least favorite wind in 30, 40 years that I fish. I will never fish west. And there's a few spots that work for me, but as a general, and it's just funny. You guys are not that far. You're half an hour away with the car, and the west wind is the wind. And the first time somebody told me, I'm like, no, there's no way. West wind, I've never caught a fish at west wind. And then I talked to Big Rock years and years ago, and he's like, no, dude, northwest wind's very good here. And I'm like, it can't be. You know how I also found out? I would go to, I think, Berkeley Club and a few other clubs that I gave seminars over the years. And, I talked the way I fish Montauk and a southwest wind and hard and whitewater and northeasters. And they're like, yeah, that sucks here. And I'm like, what heck can that suck here? It's like, oh, we like West Wind. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, I'm arguing with them as if I know their spots, but they're actually correct. Like, West Wind is really good wind for you guys.
We're north-south, our beaches, and you guys are east-west.
Right.
So what's, our west wind is straight off.
Were you on those big bunker blitzes off the jetties, a few years ago? Did you manage to get some shots off of that?
I was mildly into it. I wasn't I wasn't one of the main guys in that for sure. But I did get in a couple pretty amazing ones, prolonged big fish events where they would come in and push the bunker in between two jetties and basically just keep them in there for a while. That was pretty cool fishing. That was what our spring used to be. Our May, June was our time. Yeah. And then we used to get our big fish May, June. And then on the past 10 years, that's really cooled. Over 10 years. I think the last really good spring we had was 2011. On the out front beaches, in the real surf.
Now you do have one of the best spring fishery in the world in Raritan Bay. I mean, everybody knows about it, but nobody knows the spots because I don't talk spots. But you guys do have a very good early bite, and it's still to some extent quiet, which is fantastic to me. But it's a really, really good bite. I mean, I can't. I've been on it, and it's, my thing is this: like Jersey really kind of gets screwed once that dies. Once that bite dies, you kind of. If the bluefish don't come through, you guys are kind of like, this is why I find Jersey guys to be the hardest fishing guys from the whole East Coast. And I'm not saying that because they have better equipment or they fish harder. It's just that they are whatever the fish is. When the canal was hot, all the Jersey guys were there. When Montauk was hot, all the Jersey guys were there. They travel for the fish. But part of the reason, I assume, is because you guys don't have a lot of consistent fisheries once your spring bite dies, right?
In late June is switch over to fluke. It's kind of it. Like if you want to fish the beach, and then if you want to tangle with some cow nose rays or blacktip sharks, you got August for that. But yeah, our bass bite just drops off. And if I'm not a real fluke guy, so I almost go into dormancy during that period.
Well, all right, let's go back to the bluefish for a minute. I mean, I know that you are a big fan of bluefish. I also understand you'd name your gallery Angry Fish Gallery after makos and bluefish because they're both nasty and angry all the time. And I've seen some of your bluefish photography, which is over the years, which is spectacular. Did you enjoy doing? I mean, I know you wish you can get that action back with your drone. That's probably what you're thinking in your head, right?
I'd rather shoot bluefish from water level with a longer lens. Yeah.
Okay.
And get them. I like the first jumps, like their first hit when they come out and they're full of piss and vinegar. Yeah. And that to me is just one of the most exciting things that you can see. And I love a 20-pound bluefish I'll take a 20-pound bluefish over a 20-pound bass any day of the week. I think there's so much more fun.
I won't disagree with you on that one. I said I just don't want to unhook the 20-pound bluefish.
I'll tell you, the biggest bluefish I ever caught in my life, I waded way the heck out in a Raritan. And I usually fish single hook, no barb. I rip my belly hooks off, and then I put a single on the back with no barb. And this day I had a Lex lure, and I had double trebles with barbs. And my first cast, I hooked the biggest bluefish of my entire life. And it took me 5 minutes to actually get my hand onto the popper to even start to unhook this thing. It was like trying to bite me. The thing was out of control. And my choice was either walk all the way back in or deal with it. So I eventually dealt with it. But I felt like such an idiot because I kind of put myself in that situation by fishing double trebles, which you just don't do with bluefish. And I did it, and I got my biggest one ever that way. And I'm telling you, it was a nightmare getting that thing unhooked, and it was like scary. So a buddy of mine used to say, treat them like rabid raccoons. I think
they fight. Yeah, they fight to death. They're like, either you or your fingers or me. Somebody's going to die here.
They watch you with their eye, and they literally, some of them actually try to bite you. Like they're mean. Yeah, but single hook, no barb. You don't need a belly hook with those.
But that's what that's part of the reason why you named your gallery Angry Fish, right?
I've always loved them. I thought they were pretty intense fish, and makos too. But no one's going to be catching makos now. So.
Oh, maybe Mako's off the beach. Maybe that would be. Hey, by the way, do you guys have what we have here in August a shark fishery?
Yeah, we do.
You should.
We get
right?
black tips and spinners, and those are the main two. And then a cow nose rays, but I don't. And then you get the sand tigers too, which could be.
Because the beach fishing here has been all sand sharks most of the summer. I mean, they literally took over. They just
we get a lot of them here. When that bite gets going, it's pretty intense, and they're in close too. Like, I have a friend who is sick, and he couldn't cast. And one night we were at Fish Island Beach, and he made his first cast for sharks, and it was dead high. And his cast, I'm telling you, went a rod length out. It was like 10 feet out, and then it dropped in. And I remember thinking, oh, should I help him out? He ended up catching 3 giant black tips that night, and none of them are more than 10 feet off the beach. So they come right in.
Okay, which to me is I always laugh when I go to the beach and people like, shark sighting, flags are up. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what's under your feet. Like, I can literally throw a chunk of bunker and take like a 6-foot shark right in front of your ass.
No,
you'd
and
never
you
know
guys
about
had
it.
some attacks out there last year, right?
Yes. Some, I think minor, but there was a lot of shark sighting. But people freak out. There's thousands of these things over there.
Is my theory right on this? Do you think that the people that got bit, they all got bit on the foot, right? And to me, the underside of your foot, if you're walking, looks like a bunker. Right. So you got these fish in tight.
Okay.
See that bunker-looking thing, and they chomp it.
I assume so. Either you're that or you stepped on a damn thing and the thing was just minding his own business because there's so many of them. Listen, I have friends who are on Montauk perched on a rock and hook into a 6-foot shark. I mean, you try to deal with that with two sets of trebles.
Sound like any fun.
You know what I'm saying? That unhooking process while trying to stand on a rock, it's kind of insanity to me. So, and I don't like that whole idea of having to tangle with shark in that kind of situation. Fine, on the sand, I can get the thing on the sand and somehow unhook it and release it. But I've laughed at the people when they had the flags up that you get a helicopters looking for shark. Have you ever tried to take a drone out to see if there's sharks?
I did. I went up to Cape Cod last year and went to some of the outer beaches up there and put the drone up, and I didn't find anything. But there was also a number of spotter planes working in the area I was in, and I wasn't comfortable having the drone up with those guys around. So I cut I didn't give it a really hard look. I remember I first pulled up to Chatham, and you had the shark flags and the boat going back and forth with the acoustical, equipment on it. I thought, wow, they got to be here, but they weren't.
That sounds like a scene out of that Jaws movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the same area. I'm not even going to talk about restrictions of flying drones in certain spots that you're not supposed to be flying drones. That reminds me of another story, which I'm not going to get into before I get reported for that one, for many other things. What kind of equipment do you shoot on the beach with? I mean, I know your stuff is obviously above and beyond.
Yeah, I'm shooting photography. I have a number of different camera setups, and my main go-tos right now are Sony's. But I'll still shoot some Canon. And I have old, Bronica medium formats, and then I have a couple 35s I still shoot. But when the action's going, I'm pulling my Sonys out. That's, to me, gives me the best shot of getting what I'm after.
Just so we're clear, for everybody listening to this, none of them are waterproof, and they all cost a lot of money.
I literally have killed 2 in the past 2 years, so...
Listen, I gotta tell you one thing. I have a Canon, I think it's XA10 or something like that, a video camera, right? And it's the only camera at the time, it's a few $1,000s. It has a night vision option, right? So I used to go under the lighthouse in Montauk, and I would sit in the back with my infrared light, and I was able to see crystal clear what everybody was doing with the night vision and record them while they didn't even know they were there. So that was a kind of a cool feature. But the money shot is, you know what the money shot is? The money shot is standing under the Montauk Lighthouse on a nor'easter when a huge wave comes over you. That's the money shot. Unfortunately, it comes over your camera, too.
You might want to think about it.
And then the camera's done. Yeah. So, but in a moment, that's the shot, and you're holding a damn thing, and then you're trying to get it out of the way. So I can understand how that
saltwater and
out,
electronics
but
do not get along well.
No. How did you? I got some rusts, and we had to buy another one. How did you end up not buying, but opening your own gallery in Point Pleasant? Was this always a plan?
No,
How did this come about?
I had been doing a lot of shows, and I just felt like it was time to open up a gallery. And my girlfriend kind of gave me the idea to do it, and she was right. It was pretty cool. So it was just a natural progression of doing shows and then thinking, I really need a home base to work out of and have retail.
Yeah, because I used to see you at the shows with, I'm not going to say hundreds, but a lot of frames on a table. Can only fit so many. Hey, was that something that the gallery, was that something that's well received, like that's needed in an area? Because it's definitely an unusual thing. It's not, you're not going to find that in every town.
Point Pleasant's a neat little town. It has a number of galleries. It has a large population of people that come down in the summer to vacation here. And then the locals here seem to like coastal art, which helps me. So it was a good place to open up a gallery.
All right, wonderful. Well, Tom Lynch from angryfishgallery.com is my guest. He is, like I said, a personal friend that I know for years, and I just love his stuff, and you'll see it in a lot of magazines. And Tom, thank you so much for joining me and for filling us in on exactly what you do. So when we see your pictures, we actually understand how much time and effort takes to actually capture those images.
Thanks.